Hello again. Today is Monday, January 20th, 2025. I had a cold on Wednesday, and it peaked on Thursday or Friday evening, and I just survived my cold. It's a relatively medium, strong headache, and I didn't take any medicine. I just endured. The most difficult part of overcoming the cough and cold is that I was wide awake into like 3 or 4 a.m. It was terrible, right? You try to sleep, but you're still wide awake, and the coughing prevents you to sleep. But I think we should avoid drinking coffee or tea or pura cha. They all seem to contain caffeine, right? They are all caffeinated. So we should avoid drinking all those caffeinated or caffeine, ingredient teas, like after 1 p.m., right? After one shot after lunch is okay, but 2 shots or more, you lose sleep, and it's very difficult to fall asleep when you have a cold. So there was a mistake on my part. I didn't notice that. Now I understand. So I strongly advocate not drinking coffee or pura cha or green tea when you have a cold. Instead, drink hot water or rice water, right? Or mi zhou in Chinese. There's a rice porridge. Much better, right? It's liquid, but sometimes it's called tea too. If you want to taste it, come to Gwangju, come to Seoul, where I am, and I can teach you how to make it, or I'll just give you one shot free, right? I'm an official tour guide, so you can come to Seoul or Gwangju, and I can guide you for fee. And yeah, it's all, I'm just gibberish because I feel tired and hallucinating a little bit. I want to go to bed now, but as I promised, I would like to read these articles so that I will have read English articles, or one article or two, of which the total duration of the reading would be more than 20 minutes. So here we go. I just imagined that this year I would be very rich. I would win a lottery system, either domestic or foreign, right? Or maybe both. I feel like I would be hit the jackpot soon. So let's assume that I get money from Qatar, right? And or any part of the Middle East. Probably I could wire the money back to my account in Korea, or maybe I can leave significant portion of the money in the Qatar bank account, and I can just tap into account as needs based, right? If I need to get the money out of the, if I need money to support my daughter's education in the UK, probably instead of wiring money from my Korean bank account, which is subject to government or oversight and the government restrictions, instead I could just, send the money from my Qatar bank account to the UK directly without any limitations. Maybe much higher, lenient, or more acceptable, more tolerant bank transfer. So if that's true or not, let's find that out. Opening a bank account in Qatar. This helpful guide explains everything you need to know about how to open a bank account in Qatar, including what documents you may be asked for, how to close an account and more, right? Close the account. This article is by Keith Fernandez, but he looks like Arabic, right? Updated 19th December 2024. So it's just 1 month old article. As an expat, I thought as an expert, but as an expat, you will find opening a bank account in Qatar relatively easy. The country's high expat population means that local banks understand the needs of foreign workers and cater to them accordingly. That said, there are certain documents you will need to provide, principally as a safeguard for the bank, but also to prove your own identity and legal status. This guide includes the following information: an overview of banking in Qatar. Do you need a bank account in Qatar? Before you open a bank account in Qatar, types of bank accounts in Qatar: standard accounts, bespoke accounts. Yeah, bespoke. That's Samsung, statement, right? Bespoke, customized. Offshore accounts, expats and business owners, loans and investing. Bank accounts in Qatar, the main banks in Qatar, local banks. How to open a bank account in Qatar. How to open a business bank account in Qatar. What to do if you are refused a bank account in Qatar. Types of banking services in Qatar: cards, checks, and direct debits, digital and mobile, money transfers, loans, international money transfers in Qatar, managing your bank account in Qatar, changing banks or closing a bank account in Qatar, the time scale for closing an account, banking fees in Qatar, making a complaint about banks in Qatar, useful resources. I would not make a complaint to a Qatari bank, because in Islamic country, we gotta be careful, right? They have a very high self-esteem and their pride is very high, and they are expert on finance and business dealings, right? Arabic people, they are much smarter. Probably they have all worked out all the details of banking transactions, so there's no room for complaints. Probably it's just mistake on our part or misunderstanding on our part. An overview of banking in Qatar. There are 18 licensed banks in Qatar, 11 of which are Qatari financial establishments and 7 are foreign institutions. Qatar National Bank, QNB, is the country's largest commercial lender by profitability, deposits, and assets. It has a market share of more than 55% of banking assets of all banks in Qatar. Qatar Islamic Bank is the largest Islamic bank in the country with 40% of total Islamic banking assets. Wow. QNB, ATM. Banks in Qatar are regulated by Qatar Central Bank, QCB, which was founded in 1973 as the Qatar Monetary Agency. Its role is to supervise banks and financial institutions, manage monetary policy, oversee the financial and insurance systems, and maintain the strength of the country's banking system. According to KPMG, the environment around banking in Qatar is constantly evolving, changing, right? Consequently, local financial institutions will need to increase their focus on international reporting protocols, regulatory compliance, forthcoming VAT implications, digital transformation, mitigating fraud and cybercrime risks. Furthermore, they will need to facilitate a corporate governance culture to benefit all stakeholders in order to successfully navigate through this environment, right? VAT complications. That's good. VAT complications or ramifications. Sometimes they use ramifications, but complications is also good. Implications, right? Forthcoming VAT implications. Forthcoming VAT implications. Forthcoming VAT implications. Forthcoming VAT implications. Regulatory compliance. Regulatory compliance. Overall, banks in Qatar are easily accessible to people living anywhere on the peninsula. There are 7.2 bank branches and 65 ATMs per $100,000 in this country of 2.6 million people. All banks operating in Qatar offer services in English and Arabic. Right? Overall, banks in Qatar are easily accessible to people living anywhere on the peninsula. There are 7.2 bank branches and 65 ATMs per $100,000. That's a lot. Banking in Qatar. Do you need a bank account in Qatar? Expats working in Qatar will need to open a bank account quickly. The country's wage protection system stipulates that all workers employed there must have their salaries and wages paid into a Qatari bank account in Qatari riyals. Most noteworthy banks in Qatar are among the most modern in the Middle East. That's good. I respect Qatar. I like Qatar. I visited the country back in January 2013. I stayed there 2 nights and 3 days. It was good, rich. The scenery was good. People were well behaved. It's a small country, but they like Korea, and Koreans like Qatar. Their football is very good. I think much better than Korean football teams. Customers can open an account simply upon walking into a branch, although some documents are required. You may be able to manage your money using an overseas account if you can get your employer to transfer the money to your international account. However, in most cases, you will benefit from having a local bank account in Qatar. Furthermore, local bank accounts also ease the process of obtaining credit cards and taking out a home or car loan in Qatar, right? Getting a mortgage in Qatar, I'm not interested because I am not allowed to live in Qatar. If they invite me over, yes, I will be happy to live in Qatar for a year, maybe for 6 months. I'm not sure. It depends on how much is my remuneration, right? Before you open a bank account in Qatar, in general, opening a bank account in Qatar is quick and efficient, but with some banks, this may take a couple of days. Therefore, it is advisable for new expats to budget enough cash to last them a few days in order to pay for daily expenses. It's easy to withdraw cash using an international bank card at any ATM in Qatar, but expect to be charged for the transaction up to Qatar 20. Wow, that's a lot. One Qatar riyal or QAR is about, I think, 300 won. So 20 is 6,000 won, or about $4 or $4.50. You will also be able to use an international credit and debit card for larger purchases above QAR 25 or car. Taxi drivers and small retailers such as grocers may ask for cash. However, opening a bank account in Qatar before you arrive is certainly possible. Oh, that's good. So when I receive money from Qatar, I can just open a bank account in Korea while waiting for my flight out of country to fly to Qatar, right? That's good. That's very sweet. I will have a drink Arabic coffee with a Qatari ambassador in Seoul and understand more about Qatar and ask for his blessing on my travel to Qatar. And I will just stay there for at least three nights there so that I could explore the Qatar more and buy some stuff from the souk. Wasuk. There's a big souk in Qatar. I don't recall, but it was very large and very well organized. Expensive, but very good market. Opening a bank account in Qatar before you arrive is certainly possible, and big banks such as the Commercial Bank of Qatar and QNB allow new customers to open online accounts. However, in order to support an online application, you will likely be required to provide documentation such as a copy of your passport photo page and a letter from your employer in Qatar. Once you arrive in the country, you will then have 90 days to present your local Qatar ID to the bank. Non-residents are only able to open bank accounts in Qatar at certain banks. However, these carry hefty minimum balance requirements. Types of bank accounts in Qatar. Expats banking in Qatar can expect their financial institutions to offer a range of bank accounts for everyday use. These include standard accounts, right? Current accounts, available as a single or joint accounts. Single and joint accounts, right? Joint accounts with your wife. Current or checking accounts come with checkbooks, debit cards, and monthly statements. They may be subject to minimum balance requirements. Minimum balance requirements, right? Minimum balance requirements. Subject to minimum balance requirements. Subject to minimum balance requirements. Subject to minimum balance requirements. Savings accounts. Expats banking in Qatar can open savings accounts that are accessible via online banking. They come with debit cards and usually offer unlimited mobile, online, branch, and ATM access. Unlimited mobile, online, branch, and ATM access, right? ATM access, branch access too. That's a good term, right? Unlimited mobile, online, branch, and ATM access. Such accounts typically have no monthly account fees and usually offer a higher interest rate than current accounts. Bespoke accounts. Ladies' accounts. Many banks in Qatar offer banking services for women via specially designated bank accounts. These can be accessed at special ladies' branches in some cases. In Arabic countries, ladies, they are favored, especially they are protected by the government and the society. You got to be careful with women in Arab. Even though they wear hijab or niqab, we got to be careful not to take photos of them unless they permit you to do so. Big separation, right? Be careful. Children's accounts. Expat parents may open bank accounts in Qatar for children under the age of 18, right? They typically carry restrictions on the number of transactions possible and have balance requirements such as minimum of Qatar 5,000. Yep, I'm just bouncing on my thighs, right? While reading this article. Offshore accounts. Expats living in Qatar may find that opening an offshore bank account is the best way to manage their finances. Aside from extremely cheap money exchange fees or no fees at all, an offshore account has low taxes and most cases offers a multi-currency debit card, which is perfect for a world citizen. Other benefits that an offshore account can offer complete transactions in several different currencies, full access regardless of where in the world you are, and 24-hour access and assistance. Some banks provide offshore bank services, but the type of account might vary. In Qatar, you can find this service in HSBC Qatar, PNB Paribas, and Standard Bank. You can read more in our guide to banking in Qatar. Yeah, maybe I should open this bank account, right? Because I'm a world citizen, right? I need to have offshore accounts. Expats and business owners. New to Qatar account, banks such as Commercial Bank of Qatar offer special accounts for new expats. On their websites, CBQ says it can open such accounts before expats move to the country, doing away with the need for upfront documents such as residence permits. Business banking. Banking solutions for those who have their own companies in Qatar are generally restricted to bank account services. Really? Banking solutions for those who have their own companies in Qatar are generally restricted to bank account services. Loans and investing. Loans and overdrafts. That's you draw more money than your current bank accounts hold, right? You would be instantly in debt. In Korea, it is called minus 통장, or there's minus bank account, right? That means the bank account allows you to certain amount of money to be overdrafted, right? My overdraft maximum amount is 3천만 원, or about $200,000. I mean, 20,000 US dollars. So loans and overdrafts. Customers banking in Qatar can take out personal loans easily. Wow, that's good. Whether to buy a car or a home or to consolidate debt, most banks also offer short-term and long-term overdrafts. Yeah, mine is kind of a long-term overdraft. I can just continue to overdraft until I retire. Mortgages. With the Qatar's property market now open to expats and foreigners, most banks now offer mortgages to expats and foreigners who meet their criteria. However, the mortgage sector is still maturing. To shop around before signing on the dotted line. So shop around before signing on the dotted line. Usually we use the solid line in Korean documents, right? In documentation. But in Qatar, maybe they use the dotted line. Dotted line, right? Not solid line, dotted line, dotted line. Mortgages are still maturing, right? Still maturing in Qatar. Investment accounts. Many retail banks in Qatar offer investment accounts for expats. High net worth individuals also have access to investment banks within the region, such as BNP Paribas, Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, KKR, Societe Generale, and UBS. Minimum balances apply when accessing investment banking in Qatar. Bank accounts in Qatar. If you want to open a bank account in Qatar, you will find yourself presented with a range of different banking partners to choose from. Before you settle on one, though, you may want to shop around to compare products and services across different banks and find one that meets all your requirements. For example, when it comes to transferring money abroad, Your employer may also have a preferred banking partner, and you may be asked to choose the same bank for your salary account. Doing so means that your salary in Qatar is available to you on the day it is transferred. The main banks in Qatar, some of the bank options available to expats when opening a bank account in Qatar are listed below. All have internet and mobile banking services, internet and mobile banking services, and offer phone banking options around the clock, right? All have internet and mobile banking services and offer phone banking options, right? You just use your phones and log into the automatic response system and you make a transactions. That's called phone banking services, mobile banking services, phone banking services. But basically, you can just finish your transactions online, internet, and mobile. Okay, so local banks, 7. We heard that it's 7. Qatar National Bank, QNB. As the largest commercial bank in Qatar, QNB has a market share of more than 55% of all banking assets in the country. Established in 1964, that's when my second brother was born, the publicly listed bank is also the largest bank in the Middle East and Africa region. Wow. QNB employs over 28,000 people and operates an extensive network of 1,200 branches and 4,300 ATMs. Wow, that's amazing. That's very big company. Commercial Bank of Qatar, the third largest bank in Qatar in terms of total assets. CBQ was founded in 1975. It has wholesale and retail banking divisions. They are operated by over 2,250 employees. CBQ manages 29 branches and 179 ATMs nationwide. Doha Bank, as one of the most international commercial banks in Qatar, Doha Bank has international branches in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, and Mumbai, as well as representative offices in Australia, Singapore, Canada, Germany, Japan, China, Hong Kong, South Africa, South Korea, and the UK. Wow, we have a Doha Bank representative in this town. Doha Bank operates a retail network of 27 local branches, 9 e-branches, and 110 ATMs. Qatar Islamic Bank. The Arabian Gulf is a major center for Islamic banking, and there are several Islamic banking providers in Qatar offering retail banking services in line with Sharia principles. The first Islamic financial group is Qatar Islamic Bank, today the second largest bank in the country by assets. Incorporated in 1982, it now holds an Islamic banking market share of over 40%. As of March 2019, QIB had total assets of $42.7 billion. It has 30 branches in Qatar and employs approximately 1,000 people. HSBC, operating on the peninsula since 1954, it is a subsidiary of HSBC Bank Middle East Limited and offers businesses, corporate, and commercial bank accounts in Qatar. The bank has 3 branches in Doha and offers a network of ATMs of 11 different locations. How to open a bank account in Qatar? Opening a bank account in Qatar is a quick and easy process. You will need to have few documents on hand, however, which vary depending on the kind of account you want to open. As an expat in Qatar, the basic requirements for opening a personal savings or current accounts are your original passport plus copy, a copy of your visa page proving you are a legal resident, an official employment letter from your Qatari employer or sponsor stating your salary. It will need both a signature from you and from your employer. You won't need this for a savings account that requires a minimum balance. Minimum balance, right? A minimum balance. So a savings account, you don't need a signature from your employer. 2 passport-sized photographs filled out and signed bank account application form. Qatar ID. Some banks may ask for this. If you are opening a bank account in Qatar for your wife and children, you are in effect their sponsor, so you will need to provide the sponsor's letter. How to open a business bank account in Qatar? Opening a business bank account in Qatar requires some stringent documentation procedures than with residential accounts. It can take up to 4 weeks before your business bank account is open and operational. You will require the following documents: company trade license, certificate of registration, share certificates, company memorandum and articles of association, board, right? Company memorandum and articles of association, board resolution empowering a company officer to open the account. In Korea, we call it proxy letter, but here, board resolution, right? In empowering a company officer to open the bank account, empowering proxy letter, right? Letter of proxy. Assignment of authority, power of attorney, right? Power of attorney. Passport and residence visa copies for shareholders and authorized signatories. There's a lot of documentations. What to do if you are refused a bank account in Qatar? If your company is listed with a CBQ, you might be refused a bank account. You may also be denied a bank account if you have a criminal record or are on an international restricted or wanted list of some kind. Another bank might block your account because of suspicious activity or if you don't confirm a source of funds when asked. American citizens who refuse to sign the self-certification form as mandated by FATCA law may also be refused banking services in Qatar. This depends on each bank's discretion. However, if you are denied a bank account, you can escalate the matter to the QCB. You can lodge a complaint via a phone call, letter, or in person. You can escalate the matter, right, to the QCB. You can escalate the matter to QCB. Types of banking services in Qatar. Wow, man, this is too long. I'll just stop here and continue to read tomorrow, right? Cards and checks. But very interesting. So until now, I just learned such expressions as minimum balance requirement, right? Empowering the company officer to sign the letter. We call it proxy. Qatar National Bank is the largest commercial bank. There are 7 or 8 banks in Qatar. I would like to work for QNB if I'm given a chance. You can open a bank account before you arrive at Qatar, but basically you need to present the documentations within a month upon your arrival, right? But as a tourist, probably you can't open a bank account. If you are refused to open a bank account, you can escalate the matter to the QCB by phone, by text message. messages or by email or by visiting personally, right? What else? That's just about it. I will continue to read from where I left off here. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Yeah, what the fuck? I thought I would just hit the sack and go to bed, but I decided to finish this article off so that I could go to bed nice. So cards and checks and direct debits, payment cards, debit and credit cards, joint accounts, right? Credit cards only account for about 45% of transactions in Qatar, although there has been a significant push for more businesses to accept them. Checks remain prevalent in Qatar, where landlords often ask tenants for post-dated ones. Local checks clear within a couple of days, but acceptance at ATMs varies from bank to bank. Some banks lead the market. CBQ offers a service that allows remote check disposal for companies whereby a customer need only scan or photograph a check and upload it through the bank's mobile app. Be aware that bounced checks are a serious issue in Qatar. Crime. You gotta be careful, right? Bounced checks. So checks are prevalent in Qatar. Direct debits and standing orders. Those banking in Qatar can use direct debits and standing orders to pay utility bills and mobile phone charges. Direct debits are also in wide use across the peninsula. Digital and mobile. Online and mobile payments. Most e-commerce operators offer credit and debit card services to pay bills or make purchases, but many consumers still prefer cash on delivery. Digital wallets. E-wallets have been slow to come to Qatar. Neither Apple Pay nor Google Pay is available in the country as of 2019, but probably now. But local operators such as Ooredoo and Nokudi offer such platforms for expats in Qatar. That's good. Digital wallets. Samsung Pay, right? Digital wallets. So it is called digital wallets, Samsung Pay. Or Apple Pay. Online and mobile payments, money transfers, local money transfers. Expats banking in Qatar will be able to transfer money between banks easily. You can expect the process to take a couple of days, but some banks might ask for extra verification. International money transfers. Thanks to relationships with correspondent banks, a range of banking providers in Qatar offer easy money transfer services between different countries. Loans, car loans. Car loans are easily available in Qatar, which has a strong driving culture. Depending on the bank, expats may or may not be asked for the loan down payment on a car loan. 15% down payment is considered the industry standard when taking a loan from a bank where you aren't transferring your salary. The maximum repayment period is usually 60 months or 5 years. Personal loans. Banks in Qatar offer expat residents personal loans in a variety of different ways, such as cash loans on credit cards, or more usual bank transfers. Some banks in Qatar impose a maximum ceiling of QAR 400,000 for expatriate personal loans. Typical repayment periods stretch to 48 months. International money transfers in Qatar. The country's largest expat base means that international remittance services are available to all consumers When banking in Qatar, the QCB, for instance, allows customers to send money to accounts back home within 60 seconds. Wow, that's good. Expats can transfer money by visiting a bank branch, by using online banking services, and in certain cases from ATMs. Many local banks have correspondent or partner relationships with institutions in other countries. So depending on where you want to move your money, it's worth asking about these. There are several other ways to transfer money to other countries, such as money exchange companies with branch counters at different malls. These are often cheaper. In addition, there are several online services that offer low rates. These include Currency Fair and Wise. Interesting. Managing your bank account in Qatar. Before opening a bank account in Qatar, it's worth checking what services are available to you. In general, expats can rely on mobile and internet banking, but not all banks offer these. Digital and online banking. Internet banking in Qatar is widely available through most banks to customers who want a more convenient way of keeping track of their finances. Mobile banking. The main banks in Qatar now offer mobile banking apps so that customers can access accounts and make payments from their mobile phones and tablets. Phone banking. Many banks have automated phone banking services which allow customers to check their balances, get details on their recent transactions, transfer funds, and pay credit card bills. Face-to-face. For those who prefer to go to the branch, several financial institutions in Qatar have service counters at prominent malls and other locations around the country to better reach their customers. Appointments are usually not required. Changing banks or closing a bank account in Qatar. It's easy to change banks in Qatar. You will just need to provide the same documents at the new bank. However, you will need to settle all existing debts at the first bank before you can transfer to a new one. You will need to give the new bank a letter of no liability after closing your loan at the bank account, as well as the employer's letter regarding transferring your salary to the new bank. On the other hand, new bank may issue a manager's check for the amount required to settle all debts with the current bank. Once this is done, your liabilities will be transferred to the new bank. If you are looking at taking new loans, you will most likely need to reassign your salary to the new bank. So it is called reassignment, right? Reassign your salary to the new bank. Reassign your salary to new bank. So the word is to reassign. The time scale for closing an account. When you want to close a bank account in Qatar, you need to start the process 30 to 45 days in advance. In Korea, just one day, just the very day you leave, right? Just 1 minute, maybe. You could be stopped at the border if you have debts against your name. In addition, some employers may inform the bank that you have resigned, at which stage your account may be frozen if you have outstanding loans to be repaid. Outstanding loans. You will need to visit the branch in person to close your bank account. it's important in person, right? It's important to ask for a no liability letter confirming that the account has been closed. No liability letter. 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 Confirming that the account has been closed and all debts settled. However, if you close a bank account in Qatar without a year of opening it, you may be charged a fee. So at least to avoid the fee, your account should be open for more than a year. Banking fees in Qatar. Fees for accessing different services when banking in Qatar vary from bank to bank. You will find that charges for many transactions are cheaper when they are carried out online, while branch requests may be billed at a higher rate. Same in Korea. All banks in Qatar are required to advertise these charges on their website to display them prominently at branches and communicate them to their customers. Typical fees for a resident expat's bank account in Qatar are as follows. Account opening fees, none. Monthly minimum balance penalty, usually none. Using a GCC bank's ATM in Qatar, 10 quid. Cash withdrawals at bank branches in Qatar, 10 quid for withdrawals under 1,000 quid. New checkbook, the first is free, 15. Stop payment on lost checks, QAR, car, 25. Returned check due to insufficient funds first time, car, 100. Significant, man, significant. Transfers to other local banks, car, 25 plus 1% of the transfer amount. Lost debit card, car, 50. Certified account statements requested at branches, car, 10 to 25 depending on the period. Balance certificate, car, 25. No liability letter, car, 25. Account closing fee within the first year, car, 50. Making a complaint about the banks in Qatar. The QCB's Banking Customer Services Protection Department aims to protect the rights of its customers by ensuring they have the right to transparent and fair banking transactions with access to all financial services and products at appropriate costs. However, the QCB puts the onus on handling complaints on the bank themselves, right? Onus, burden, heavy burden, onus, right? Not anus, but onus. Maybe same thing. Close, right? If you have a hot brick shit, it's very difficult to take a shit, right? It's instead of liquid shit, a hard brick shit is quite painful in your anus. So onus is same as the anus here. Yeah, I was just joking. Where was I? In case of complaints, right? When banking in Qatar, you are requested to first route queries to the concerned financial institutions. If the complaint is not solved, you will need to send a complaint through the QCB website by filling in the e-complaint form. In addition, you need to attach a copy of the supporting documents. QCB says it will do its best to solve the problem within 7 working days. Consumers may telephone QCB during normal working hours or email them. Most information is available on the QCB website. About the author. Can you be in several places at once? Keith certainly thinks so. The global nomad lives in between Amos Ford, Dubai, and Mumbai. An entrepreneur and newsroom leader, he writes about everything from beauty to blockchain. His byline has appeared in Gulf News, The National, The Times of India, Wired, not Weird, Cosmopolitan. We learned that bylines are the author's name, right? Byline. That means his article appeared in many newspapers. So the author is Keith Fernandez. Thanks for listening. But before I close this article for the day, there are some other terms that I would like to remember. QAR, right? QCB, joint account, minimum balance, reassign your salary to a new bank account. Reassign, switch, reassign. What else? Nothing special here, but owners, right? The owners on the banking system, owners. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Phone banking, mobile banking, digital online banking. Bye-bye.